Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to Annoyed Gamer. I am Marcus Beer, bringing you number 32 in a series of a bajillion rants. So I've got a couple of topics for you this week, but the first one, I'm going to talk about Xbox and 720. Obviously, we had the PS4 announcement last week, and a lot of people were like, oh, it was crap, and then there was people who said, oh, it was great. Me, I was kind of in the middle. I thought it was crappily great and greatly crap. There were some very good points, and there were some points that needed swatting up on and polishing. Now, what I'm going to do is say to Microsoft what I feel they need to do and make some predictions. First up, and I said this after the PS4 announcement last week, I think Microsoft will announce in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I think we will see an event, we will see invites going out, and I will predict that by the end of April, we will know a lot about 720. That's just it. I mean, I just figured they will, because it makes sense from a PR standpoint, because Microsoft are currently behind Sony and Nintendo, who've had their own events and announced their cool stuff. So it's Microsoft's turn, and they won't wait till E3. E3 is too far away. Okay, so yeah, I'm predicting that this is going to happen sometime in April, and this is my list of things that Microsoft need to do. First and foremost, we need more than Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. They need to announce some new IPs, maybe bring back a couple of IPs, maybe a brand new Perfect Dark game that doesn't totally suck rat's ass. That would be nice. Hell, Crackdown 3. I mean, Crackdown 2 was horrible, but Crackdown 1 was a bunch of fun. So that might be a great game to show out and, you know, bring out some new cool IP. Sony actually did this quite well last week. I mean, they did have Killzone, they did have Crank, what was it? Knack. Okay, Knack is whack. But it looked kind of cool and interesting. And of course, they had infamous Second Son. That also looked phenomenally cool. So on the first party, Sony checked the boxes and delivered some good stuff. Microsoft needs to do the same and not more of the same. Well, we're still on a games point, if you will. Microsoft needs to do something Sony didn't do last week, and that's vet the shit out of third parties. Now, the third party presentations last week were a joke. They were quite ridiculous across the board, with the exception possibly of Ubisoft, who brought Watch Dogs, which looked great, but obviously was running on a PC. Now, for third-party publishers, being invited to a console reveal is the pinnacle. I mean, the world's eyes are trained on you and your product. That's it. So Microsoft needs to really put some standards in place. They've got to say, you know what, Destiny, we're not going to have any of that crap. Capcom, if you want to bring a game, you can bring a game that's not a tech demo. And if they plan on having Square Enix there, they've got to say, no tech demo from 12 months ago. And if you're going to announce a Final Fantasy game, you can't just drop the mic and walk off the stage. You have to show the frigging game. In fact, you know what? Show us Deus Ex. Show us another Tomb Raider title, because guess what, Square Enix? Your Western stuff, way better than your Japanese stuff right now. Next up, Kinect 2. Now, everybody knows I am a rampant fan of Kinect. But no, Kinect 2 is obviously going to be an integral part of the Xbox 720. So what Microsoft needs to do is make sure that it's more than a frigging gimmick. I really want more than a game that just responds to go left here, go right here, shoot, or I gotta go this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and I'm a gamer. I pick my hobby because I like sitting on my ass, thank you very much. I'm cultured, you know. I'm elegant, I'm a gentleman. I don't have to do that. I really want more than that. So if you're gonna make Kinect a really impactful way for us to play games, make sure that the software is there, make sure the camera is fantastic, make sure everything is brilliant. So for once, we're actually wowed. It's not too hard to do. You know, you've been developing this shit for years. You must have some good stuff. If not, just 86 it, unplug it, pull it out, cover the camera, or just put it in as a webcam so everything just whack off to each other. Because all that right now is way more fun than anything Kinect has delivered. Oh, and one last thing. Do not bring any 5-year-olds on stage to do a cutesy dance to Mickey Mouse meets Donald Duck meets the Sesame Street Pale Garbage Kids, because that will just incite a riot, just from where I'm going to be sitting. Next up, show us the bloody console. Now, I'm saying this, and a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, they'll show it at E3, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm throwing this out because Major Nelson, who is the head of Xbox community, tweeted after the PS4 event to say, what, you couldn't show the console? And I am paraphrasing here. So, unless Major Nelson is going to look like a major bitch, which I'm not saying he is, but it does come across as bitchy, especially if Microsoft doesn't show that console. They have to show the form factor, and I think they will. I think not only will they show a console, I think they will show 2 or 3 versions of the console, which will be interesting. Next up, next generation of Xbox Live, thank you very much. You've got Windows 8 and tablets and Surface and phones and everything, and they're all adhering to these annoying little squares. In fact, PCs are kind of unusable right now due to Windows 8, which is a bunch of bollocks in my book. But Sony did bring it last week with the Gaikai stuff. They did talk about a lot of stuff. They showed us a little bit of a UI, but they did talk about a lot of things that they will be implementing over the next 2-3 years. That's interesting, that's cool. Microsoft, you need to bring it. You were the leader with Xbox Live for the longest time. Sony have finally got it. They finally realized that they need to up their game, and they're bringing streaming and backwards compatibility and all this. Microsoft, you have the cloud already, so you really need to bring us something cool, but that doesn't mean you need to bring us Xbox Live Ultra Platinum that's gonna cost us $50 a month. That would be taking the piss, and that would make me very annoyed. All right, used game blockage. Sony have said they're not blocking used games, and Microsoft, you really need to listen to what's been going on over the last couple of months. If you do block used games, I think you're going to be mental. I think you're going to be in a world of hurt. Do I think Microsoft are actually going to do it? No. I think there's been a lot of talk about it, but Ian Livingston, who is the life president of Eidos, which is obviously Square Enix now, and life president means that you've got this title, but you often do other stuff. Anyway, he gave an interview to MCV India, and this is what he had to say. With the next Xbox, you supposedly have to have an internet connection, and the discs are watermarked, whereby once played on the console, it won't play on another. Now, obviously, a lot of the media took this up and decided to, I'm not going to say editorialize, because that's what I do, but I'm going to say sensationalize this quote. And all of a sudden, on Monday and Tuesday, my inbox was full of messages saying, oh, Ian Livingston said Xbox next generation will block used games. He didn't say that. He said it supposedly. It's not going to happen. Microsoft are not that stupid. They would be cutting their noses to spite their faces, and they would be saying to Sony and Nintendo, here, have this generation. We've got Windows 8. No, they're not that daft. I will say, and another bold prediction, I will say here and now, there will be no used game block on the next 720. And my friends in the media, stop putting things out of context. You're not a British tabloid, for God's sake. All right, so that's my advice, my predictions, blah, blah, blah. The last time I did one of these things to Sony, the very next day, they came out and announced that they were going to have the big PS4 event. So sometime in the next 4 or 5 days, Microsoft are going to be sending out invoices, yes. We're going to bill you. No, in the next couple of days, I fully predict that Microsoft will be sending out invites to the 720 event that'll happen somewhere around here. And call it 720. I like 720, so there you go. All right, that's the show for this week. Thank you as always. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts via Twitter. I am, of course, @AnnoyedGamer. Thank you. I will see you next week.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.